caused by bark beetle. About 20 years ago, we had a really bad drought. That's what killed most of the trees in this area. And about 3 months ago, we actually got to see a mother bear and her 2 baby cubs in this canyon. Earlier this morning on our first run, we seen a couple of male deer right beneath tower number 2. And about a week ago, we actually got to see Sasquatch. Kidding, folks, but if you pay close attention to the windows right outside, maybe you'll get to see some wildlife. To spot a male deer, you'll see a tiny shadow the size of a dime that moves. Just like those rocks, that male deer is going to be tiny. And we are now approaching tower number 2. Tower number 2 stands at an elevation of 8,750 feet, is 80 feet high and 40 foot embedded into the canyon wall. And it took about 3,000 helicopter flights to build tower number 2. As we pass over tower 2, we'll get that slight swing and sway again. Tower 2. And a slight dip down. We are now entering Big Canyon. If you look directly in front of us, you're going to notice our sister tram car coming towards us. Might look like it's going a lot faster, but it's not. We're actually going the exact same speed. And just as soon as we come online with them, we'll be midway through the trip. Tram car number 2.
Hey, goodbye. See any deer or bear or anything?
Nope.
Remember when we did Whistler, we saw those bears?
Yeah.
And you folks now notice we begin to slow down. We're slowing down because the other tram car is passing over tower number 2. Just as soon as it clears those towers, we'll be going right back up to normal speed, which will be bringing us to our highest point in the trip. We're about 1,000 feet above the ground right now. Great time to place your forehead up against that glass and look all the way down. See any mule deers out there, folks? Look outside the windows opposite of myself. We will now be coming up to this big flat-shaped granite rock. During the early months of summer and fall, we'll get about a dozen to 2 dozen rock climbers that will actually perch themselves on top of this rock, climb all the way from the bottom to the top, and they'll get their picture taken about 100 to 200 times a day, just by passengers like yourself. So we actually nicknamed this rock Ego Boost.
Appropriate.
And we are now entering the Echo Canyon. Taking a look outside the windows opposite of myself, there's actually a natural flowing spring that runs through the Echo Canyon. It is very difficult to see because some of the trees beneath us are about 50 to 100 feet high. Now taking a look out either side of the cabin windows, you folks will notice there's no roads leading to this side of the mountain. The road is actually located on the opposite side of the mountain. It's called the Sandia Crest Road. It's about an hour to an hour and a half drive up. So everything up to the upper terminal is all transported by tram. We take up the food, the employees, the cake, the beer, all up by tram. And at the end of each night, we'll actually attach a 1,000-gallon water tank onto the bottom of the tram. And we supply the water to the upper terminal, which is the Four Seasons Visitor Center and the High Finance Restaurant. We'll do about 2 to 4 trips each night to supply that water. And we are now entering the TWA Canyon. Had a couple of folks ask about the TWA plane crash. It's actually to the windows opposite of myself. Any metal pieces you see shining or reflecting back at you is metal pieces from the 1955 plane crash. It happened a whole decade before the tram was constructed. It happened a whole decade before the tram was constructed. They were on their way to Santa Fe, which is north of Albuquerque. They were traveling the early month of February when the clouds were at the lowest point. There's speculation their altimeter was not working as well. They tried banking over this side of the mountain where those two little nuts are. They didn't make it and they crashed right into it. A lot of pieces have actually slid down into the bottom of the canyon floor during the winter months. A lot of pieces are covered by scrub oak. Like I said, it happened in 1955. And hikers have actually hiked up to the TWA Canyon and built a little memorial down at the bottom for the victims. Opposite of myself, the highest point on the mountain. Not the closest, but the highest. You're gonna see a little stone house up there. Kind of looks like Fred Flintstone's house. Do you see, folks? Right on top of that peak, you'll see that tiny black little window. That's actually the Kiwanis cabin. Was built in 1936 by the CCC for the workers, so they did not have to travel down the mountain each night. You actually can hike over to Kiwanis cabin. It's about a 1.5-mile hike, and from that cabin you can get a 360-degree view of the whole mountain. It's a really great hike. Now taking a look out either side of the cabin windows, you folks will notice there's a slight shaded peak in the mountain. That slight shaded peak is actually caused by the feldspar in the granite. About 15 minutes before the sun sets, we get a very cool event out of that. The mountain will glow a slight shaded pink and will look like a giant piece of watermelon from a distance, especially after your second margarita on top of the mountain. And that's what you folks are actually riding today. You're going on the watermelon tram up to the watermelon mountain because Sandia means watermelon in Spanish. And we are now approaching the upper terminal. The upper terminal stands at an elevation of 10,378 feet. It took about 5,000 helicopter flights to build the whole tram, and on a clear day can see over 11,000 square hundred miles in New Mexico. That's approximately 9% of the whole state. And we're the 5th largest state, folks. And maybe when you folks are hiking around on top of the mountain, you might be paying close attention to the ground you're walking on. Maybe folks might find some seashells or some fossils. About 300 million years ago, this actually used to be the bottom of the seafloor. And as we come into dock, we shall be docking very slowly. We'll be getting a couple of bumps on the right and left-hand side of the tram car. We shall be docking very slowly, folks. We'll be getting that first bump coming up here, folks, on the right and left-hand side. First bump, little bump. The building directly in front of you is a Four Seasons Visitor Center. You folks will find restrooms, water fountains, more information about the tram, the ski area, and the geology about the mountain. If you make a left on the dock, you're going to find the High Finance Restaurant and a couple of pipe sites along the way. Final bump just as soon as we approach these black bumpers in the front.